Ratchet and Clank, 2002. Ratchet and Clank is an iconic series, and the reason why that is the case is due to the fantastic characters. Ratchet in particular is absolutely beloved by millions of gamers, and his voice is a huge contributor to that. However, he was stiffer and unsympathetic in this game, and Insomniac regretted making him that way. This was because this is the only game in the Ratchet and Clank series to not feature James Arnold Taylor as the voice actor for Ratchet. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, 2003. Ratchet and Clank Going Commando has a location called the Silver City on Boldan. In that location, there's a teleporter on top of a fountain that does not work, except for at 3 a.m. The idea being you have to be an Insomniac to work it, which is a nod to Insomniac Studios, the developers of the game. Using it gives you access to a large room where you can view and play unused concepts for the game, as well as listen to commentaries. Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal, 2004. This one had a bit of a bumpy ride during development. The game was reportedly a complete mess and a total disaster leading up to 2 weeks before the game was due to go gold, with many of the developers terrified that they would create Insomniac Games' first ever bad game. However, during the final 2 weeks, they somehow managed to fix the game and iron out most of the issues. Ironically, Ratchet and Clank 3 became the highest rated Ratchet and Clank game of all time, and remains so to this day. Ratchet Deadlocked, 2005. Ratchet and Clank Deadlocked is a game that had very high expectations when it was announced. It was met with a lot of positive reviews, though there was a lot left to be desired by the fans, especially since cut audio clips were found in the files of the game. These included extra quotes which implied a mission at the planet Shar, where Ratchet has to rescue Hydro Girl, and other content. Ratchet and Clank Size Matters, 2007. Size Matters was the only game in the franchise that wasn't made by Insomniac Games. Instead, it was made by a studio that was poorly known for a bad Jack game. However, as it turns out, it turned out to be one of the better PSP AAA games to come out and was a huge success, helping and redeeming High Impact Games as a studio. Ratchet and Clank Future, Tools of Destruction, 2007. Tools of Destruction was a revolutionary game for the Ratchet & Clank franchise. First off, Ratchet & Clank Tools of Destruction is the first RNC game released on the PS3. Secondly, this was also the first game in the series to be rated E10+, instead of teen. Secret Agent Clank, 2008. This spin-off was incredibly unique. It was a game that no one expected the franchise to actually pull off, yet it was a great game at the end of the day. This is the only game in the series where Ratchet isn't the main playable character. Ratchet and Clank Future, Quest for Booty, 2008. The one thing that most people don't know about Future Quest for Booty is the change in the title due to market-based systems. This game was simply titled without the Future when it was originally released in Europe. Now, however, it does have Future featured in its title worldwide. Ratchet and Clank Future, A Crack in Time, 2009. After ages of waiting for Dr. Nefarious to make his triumphant return to the franchise, fans finally got what they wanted with the release of Ratchet and Clank Future, A Crack in Time. This is the second game in the series to feature Dr. Nefarious as a main villain. Ratchet and Clank All for One, 2011. Released for free, All for One has been among the hundreds of titles temporarily made free to download for PlayStation Plus users. This was one of the few games which was around for a full year rather than just a month, being available from June 5th of 2012 until June 11th, 2013. Ratchet and Clank Full Frontal Assault, 2012. This game marked the 10th anniversary for Ratchet and Clank, and it was a huge milestone for Insomniac Studios, as they were finally starting to work on games aside from Ratchet and Clank. Buying the digital version even gets you a special avatar of the 10th anniversary logo that appears before the title screen. Ratchet and Clank Into the Nexus, 2013. As the series moved into the next generation of gaming for the greater release of the PlayStation 4, Into the Nexus was the very final title of the franchise to actually be released on the Sony PlayStation 3 console, bringing the end of an era. Ratchet and Clank 2016. Insomniac had to develop Ratchet and Clank 2016 as a whole entire game in 10 months, so it could be released in time to coincide with the 2016 movie. That turned out somehow well though, as the game was critically praised and became the fastest selling title in the series. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart, 2021. The game was specifically designed to make use of the PlayStation 5's power and its fast solid-state drive. Because of that, it brought many technical advantages to the game, such as large amounts of enemies and seamless jumps between dimensions. It also became the first game in the series to have no loading screens.